Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. I am Alex, and with me, as always, is my brilliant co-host, Jamie. Jamie, I swear, every time we pick up a new document, I think I have a handle on the topic, and then it just explodes my brain in the best possible way.
It's why we do this, Alex, and today we are diving deep into Kyra Scanlon's incredible book, In This Economy. You know, when I first heard the title, I thought, okay, another economics book. But this is so much more than that. This is a complete paradigm shift in how we think about the very fabric of our financial world.
A paradigm shift is right. My big takeaway, even from just skimming the table of contents and forward, is that this isn't just about numbers and charts. It's about feelings. Like actual human feelings are shaping our economy? Is that really what she's saying?
Exactly. Scanlon introduces this concept, right? The vibe economy. It's the idea that our collective mood, our sentiments, our vibes, if you will, aren't just a side effect of economic conditions, they are a driver of them. It's like a feedback loop where what we feel influences what happens, which then influences what we feel again.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that if everyone just collectively wakes up one morning and feels grumpy about the economy, that grumpiness can actually cause an economic downturn? Like, it's not just the data, it's the mood influencing the data?
Precisely. She even coined the term vicession in 2022 to describe a situation where, technically, the economy might be doing okay by traditional metrics, but people feel glum about it, and those glum vibes can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Think about it. If you're worried, you might save more, spend less. If millions do that, demand drops, businesses suffer, and suddenly you are in a downturn.
Mind blown. I always thought it was the other way around. The economy performs badly, then we feel bad. But she's flipping it on its head. It's like when you're driving and you think you see brake lights far ahead, so you tap your brakes, and then the guy behind you sees your brake lights and taps his, and suddenly there's a traffic jam for no actual reason.
That's a perfect analogy, Alex. And Scanlon really unpacks this with what she calls the uncertainty cake. It's made up of three layers: expectations, how we expect things to be; theory, how things are supposed to be; and reality, how things actually are. When these three diverge, when there's a huge gap, that's when the vibes get really weird.
The uncertainty cake. I love that. So economic theory says one thing, but people's gut feelings and experiences are saying another, and that creates this cognitive dissonance that manifests as a collective vibe?
Absolutely. And she links it to deeper economic thought. Remember George Soros' theory of reflexivity? It's this idea that there's a feedback loop between what people think and what actually happens, which then changes what people think again. The internet bubble of the late 90s, early 2000s is a classic example. People believed the internet would revolutionize everything, and traditional valuation metrics didn't apply. That belief drove insane investments, which then reinforced the belief that these valuations were justified, creating a runaway train.
Oh, right. So everyone thought Pets.com was going to be the next Amazon, right? And that belief, not actual profits, drove its stock up, which then made more people believe it until crash.
Exactly. The company's growth was fueled by the expectation of profitability, not the profitability itself. And Scanlon pulls in Fisher Black from his 1986 paper Noise, who said, and I quote, "The price level and rate of inflation are indeterminate. They are whatever people think they will be. They are determined by expectations, but expectations follow no rational rules."
Wow. So inflation isn't just about supply and demand. It's about whether we believe prices will go up, and then we act accordingly, asking for raises, raising our own prices, and poof, it happens.
You got it. It highlights how powerful our collective psychology is. And that's why she talks about economic mood rings. Things like the Consumer Confidence Survey. These metrics try to gauge that gap between present reality and expected reality. If people think things are bad and are about to get a lot worse, that's not good, and it can become self-fulfilling.
Think about it. It's like a massive group hallucination that becomes real. Fascinating. So how does this vibe economy play out in the more traditional, economic kingdom that she talks about, the castles and moats and cannons?
Ah, the economic kingdom. This is where Scanlon brilliantly uses an analogy from her childhood game to explain the complex financial infrastructure. At the top, you have the monetary policy castle, presided over by the Federal Reserve. This is the big kahuna, supposed to manage the entire kingdom.
So the Fed is the queen or king of this economic game, trying to keep everything in order?
Precisely. And it directly oversees two other crucial castles, inflation and the labor market. The Fed's actions, like firing cannons, raising or cutting interest rates, are attempts to control these. Raising rates, contractionary monetary policy, is like putting the brakes on, making borrowing expensive to cool down demand and fight inflation.
So when the Fed fires a cannon by hiking rates, it's trying to hit the inflation castle to bring prices down, but she says it doesn't always hit directly, right? There are moats around the castles.
Yes, the moats provide insulation. Sometimes the cannonball just lands without much of a hit, meaning it doesn't do much. Other times, it might damage a drawbridge, making day-to-day functioning harder, or it might take out an attacking army like unwanted inflation. It's not a simple cause and effect because there are too many variables. Unlike her Lego game, you can't just knock down a castle chessboard style.
So the Fed isn't just this all-powerful entity, it's more like a really powerful but sometimes clumsy artillery commander trying to hit a moving target in the fog of war. And then there's the US dollar castle as a secret weapon. What's that about?
That's a critical point. The dollar's strength has geopolitical consequences. When the Fed's tools strengthen the dollar, meaning it can buy more in foreign countries, it makes things like Chinese imports more expensive for American consumers. That can reduce demand for Chinese goods, affecting China's export revenues. It's a ripple effect across the global economy from just one castle and its secret weapon.
That makes sense. Everything's connected. And then she mentions the commodity castle, oil, gas, metals, agricultural products. That sounds like the literal foundation of the kingdom, right?
It is. She calls it the common denominator for everything we interact with daily. Our phones, clothes, food, cars. Without the commodity castle, neither would the economic kingdom exist. It's fundamental, shaping inflation and supply chains. And the volatility in these castles, whether it's the dollar, housing, or stocks, really matters to people's lives. Like people's life savings and retirement plans can get wiped out.
Which brings us back to the vibes, because if people's life savings are being wiped out, their vibes are definitely going to be, shall we say, suboptimal. But she critiques how policymakers measure the kingdom's prosperity through GDP, saying it isn't a great measure because it doesn't really capture anything beyond spending.
Precisely. GDP is about spending. It doesn't capture the nuanced well-being of the citizens or how they feel. And that disconnect between hard data and lived experience, the pinch of escalating food costs, the sting of rising rent, that's the core of the vibes economy. She explains how gas prices, for instance, don't just affect our wallets, but our moods, because those bright neon signs on every corner are constant reminders of how expensive it is to be alive. That then fuels negative sentiment, even if it doesn't directly cause a recession.
So when OPEC decides to cut oil production, that decision in some faraway land isn't just a number on a screen, it's going to make millions of people feel worse about their daily commute and grocery bill, and that feeling then reverberates through the entire economy.
It's all connected. And speaking of foundational elements, she then dives into the weird world of money. This part blew my mind because she argues that money has always been a meme from day one.
A meme? You mean like Dogecoin, but for thousands of years? That's wild.
She's saying that at its core, money is a social construct that relies on people's trust. It's a commodified product, a promise. It's the glue that holds society together. If people collectively agree that toenail clippings have value and can be used for transactions, savings, and accounting, then technically, toenail clippings could be money.
Jamie, are you suggesting we start trading toenail clippings? Because I'm not sure I'm ready for that economy.
Not quite, Alex, but it illustrates her point beautifully. Money only works because we believe in it. It has three core attributes, which she explains with a brilliant analogy: bananas and trucks.
Bananas and trucks. Okay, I'm listening.
First, money is a store of value. $1 today should buy the same number of bananas or trucks tomorrow, though inflation complicates that, obviously. Second, it's a unit of account. It can compare values, $1 for a banana, many dollars for a truck. Third, it's a medium of exchange. You can use your dollars at the grocery store or truck dealership, and both will accept them.
So if my toenail clippings could consistently buy the same number of bananas tomorrow, could be used to compare the value of bananas to trucks, and were accepted everywhere, then poof, toenail clipping economy.
Essentially, she takes us through the evolution, from ancient people using seashells or mineral chunks to bartering, which became impractical as societies grew. You can't exactly carry a herd of cows around to trade for grain, right?
Not easily. Plus, what if I think my cow is worth 19 bags of grain, but you only think it's worth 15? That's a negotiation nightmare.
Exactly. So, Mesopotamia, around 3500 BC, established the first monetary system using clay tokens representing goods and services, recording transactions on clay tablets. And then Lydia, around 600 BC, developed the first coins made from electrum,